Hi, this is Ms. Estes, and today we're going to be talking about relating fractions to division. I can interpret a fraction as division of the numerator by the denominator. So if we take a look here, anytime we see a fraction, here's the fraction 5/3, this can also be thought of as a division problem. And if you see, the numerator is another name for our dividend, and the denominator is another name for our divisor. So if you look here, the second picture here is showing how we would set that up in a division problem. The divisor, which in the fraction is our denominator, is what goes outside the box. And then our dividend, which is our numerator, is going to go inside the box. And we're going to divide 3 into 5. So whenever we divide that out, we know that we can make one group of 3 out of 5. So we end up with the whole number of 1, and after we subtract that group of 3, we end up with 2 left over. So that becomes the numerator of our new fraction. So we have 1 whole and then 2/3 left over. So 5/3 is the same as 1 and 2/3. So if we look here, we have the fraction 7/3, and it is an improper fraction because we know that our numerator is larger than our denominator. So we're going to first set this up as a division problem. 7 is our numerator, but it's also our dividend. So we're going to put our 7 there. 3 is our denominator and is also our divisor. So we're trying to figure out how many groups of 3 can we make with 7. We know that we can make 2 groups of 3, and 2 times 3 is 6. So when we subtract, we see that we have 1 left over. So when we go to write that as our mixed number, we have 2 as our whole number, and our remainder is 1, so that becomes our numerator. And then our divisor is 3, so that stays our denominator. So 7/3 is the same thing as 2 and 1/3. Okay, so I can solve word problems involving division of whole numbers, leading to answers in the form of fractions. So when we think of fractions as division, it's important that we really read the problem and pay attention to what it is they're wanting us to figure out. So in this example problem, 7 puppies share a 5-pound bag of dog food. How much does each puppy get? There are 2 important questions that we can use to help us set up our fraction or our division problem correctly. The first thing we want to ask ourselves is, what is being shared? What in the problem is being shared or divided up? So if we look back at the problem, the 5-pound bag of dog food is what is being shared. Things that are usually shared, food or candy, money can be shared, cards or toys, string or ribbon. Those are just some examples of things that might be shared. Our second question that we're going to ask ourselves is, who gets the items being shared? And I always like to say who or what gets the items being shared, because sometimes it's not a specific person. It might be an item that is being shared. So if we look down below, it says who gets the items. Some examples would be people, kids, animals, containers, bags. So if we look back at this problem, it's the 7 puppies that are getting the items that are being shared. So when we answer that first question, what is being shared, that 5-pound bag of dog food, that gives us our numerator. That is the number that we are dividing up. After we ask ourselves the second question, who gets the items being shared, the 7 puppies are getting the items being shared. That's going to be our denominator. So we could use the fraction 5/7 as our division problem. Well, 5/7 is already a proper fraction. It's less than 1. So that just lets us know that each puppy is going to get 5/7 of the bag of food. So let's use these same 2 questions to help us solve some examples. So if we look at our first problem, Katie and 5 of her friends share 96 ounces of orange juice. How much juice does each friend get? So if we ask ourselves the question of what is being shared. If we look back in this problem, what do we see that's being shared? Okay, the orange juice. And we see that there's 96 ounces of orange juice. So 96 is going to be our numerator. Then we're going to ask ourselves the second question, who or what gets the item being shared? Well, Katie and her friends are the ones that are sharing. So Katie and 5 of her friends gives us a total of 6 friends that are sharing this orange juice. So now all we have to do is divide this out. 96 divided by 6, and that gives us 16. So that tells us that each friend is going to get each friend is going to get 16 ounces of orange juice. So let's look at question 2. Jacob bakes 8 sheets of cookies using 4 cups of sugar. How many cups of sugar does he use for each sheet of cookies? So our first question, what is being shared? So in this problem, he's baking cookies, and the 4 cups of sugar is being shared to bake all of these cookies. So 4 is going to be our numerator. Who or what is getting the item that is being shared? So who or what is getting this sugar? Well, the 8 sheets of cookies. So 8 is going to be our denominator. Well, 4/8 is a proper fraction. So all we need to do here is look at this fraction and see, does it need to be reduced? Well, I know that 4/8 is equivalent to 1/2 because I could divide my numerator and my denominator by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So that's showing me that each sheet of cookies is going to get 1/2 cup of sugar. All right, question 3. Zachary and 3 of his friends decide to order pizza for lunch while playing video games. So we have Zachary and 3 of his friends. They put their money together and have enough to buy 3 pizzas. What fraction of each pizza will each friend get for lunch? So again, referring back to our 2 questions, our first question, what is being shared? Well, the pizza is being shared. So there are 3 pizzas. So 3 is going to be our numerator. And who is getting the pizza that is being shared? Well, Zachary and 3 of his friends. So that's a total of 4 friends that are getting pizza. So 3/4 is a fraction that's already reduced. 3 and 4 are only one number away from each other, so I know that I can't divide my numerator or my denominator by any other number besides 1 to reduce my fraction. So that lets me know that each friend is going to get 3/4 of a pizza. In question 4, Ashley is making a shirt for her Girls on the Run race. She needs to cut 8 identical strips from 10 yards of netting. What fraction of a yard will each piece be? So looking at our questions, what is being shared? Well, thinking back and looking back at this problem, she's using 10 yards of netting for all of these shirts. So 10 is going to have to be our numerator. That is what is being shared, the 10 yards of netting. And who or what gets this netting? Well, the strips is what is getting the netting. So we have 8 strips to divide it up into. So since we have an improper fraction, we are going to need to go ahead and divide this out. If we have 10, how many groups of 8 can we make? We can make one full group of 8. and we will have 2 left over, so that would be 1 and 2/8. And I know that 2/8 can be reduced. I can divide my numerator and my denominator by 2. So that would give me 1 and 1/4 yards for each strip that she cuts. So in conclusion, anytime you have a division word problem, you can write your division problem as a fraction. Just remember these 2 questions. Question 1, what is being shared? Once you go back to that problem and find the item that is being shared, that is going to be your numerator. Question 2, who or what gets the item being shared? That number is going to be your denominator. So that gives you a fraction. If it's a proper fraction, you just need to see, can this be reduced? If it's an improper fraction, then you need to divide it out in order to get your mixed number, and then again, see if it needs to be reduced to get your final answer. There you go, guys. Thank you.